Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Inspire Before We Expire show. I am your host, Terrell Sumter. Guys, I'm very grateful, thankful, and graceful to be here yet another day. That's never a promise. Oh man, before we start today's interview, I just want you all to take some time to really just close your eyes. I want you to breathe in, breathe out, and just reflect on the good times. Just reflect and where you found yourself at most at peace, maybe around loved ones, maybe around a friend, and maybe just being by yourself. And now I just want you to open. Now, guys, I get messages all the time saying that I feel alone. You're never alone. There's always somebody with you on this journey to help guide you every step of the way. Now, I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'm so much excited about today's interview. I mean, it's just a hardworking individual, um, and he comes from very humble beginnings. He's originally from Chicago, Illinois, a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon entering the motivational speaking industry, and always looking to enter other industries. He's the creator of Fab, MVMNT, enriching lives and inspiring the world to be fabulous, motivated, victorious, magnificent, noble, and tenacious. With a following of 84,000, his goal is to reach 7.2 billion people of the world. He has been selected by San Diego's magazine as one of San Diego's top doctors for 4 years in a row, and has multiple peer-reviewed orthopedic publications, along with writing multiple book chapters of books. Guys, this man is also a robotic surgeon, surgery pioneer, car racer. Man, this, listen, you name it. Guys, I'm here today to introduce you to my dear friend coming from San Diego, California, at his work office as we speak, Mr. Dr. David Fabi. David, thank you, man. Thank you for coming to the show today.
No problem. No problem. I mean, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this lovely opportunity. And I just want to take a moment to sincerely apologize. I was running late on this. I was stuck in surgery. Took a little longer than I expected, but you've been so gracious to continue to roll with this. You know, I love that we had a few moments to talk about your story a little bit. Very inspiring, man. I love what you do. I love what the name of your podcast, Inspire to Expire. So yeah, man, just truly grateful. Yeah, I can tell already. I can feel, your good energy, man. So I love how you started that off with a little meditation and just, being grateful for this day, because, hey, all we got is this day, right?
Absolutely, man. Anytime, man. I understand that patience is a virtue. Things come up. What matters is you here now. So glad to have you, man. I've been excited for this interview since we first spoke. So let's kick it off, man. So
let's do it.
When did the journey first start for you?
So, the journey, straight out of the womb, man. No, I'm joking. It depends on, what journey, that we're talking about. I'll tell you, on the medical journey, started really early. My mom was a physician, and she came and migrated from the Philippines, which, that's courage. Imagine going to another country and trying to make a living. That's something that I saw that I respected, because, that's something that I didn't want to disrespect, with my trajectory. But that being said, in Filipino culture, I've said it a lot, being a doctor is the pinnacle. You can be the president of any country, but that's not good enough. So she always pushed me in that direction. And, I had dreams along the way, being a professional skateboarder, going to the NBA, because I grew up with MJ and Michael Jordan. So, but of course, Filipinos, we're not blessed with the height. We can dance, though. But obviously that didn't pan out. And as I went through, I realized that's where my strength lies. I remember at a young age, like how, I know it's cliche, but how compassionate I was, So as I kind of went through it, that's where, I wanted to seek some type of professional route. I knew a lawyer wasn't in my DNA, being on Wall Street wasn't in my DNA. So everything kind of aligned. And of course, along the way, I questioned it because a lot of challenges. I'm like, am I doing this for myself? Am I doing this for my mom? Am I doing this for other things like status, whatnot? But, you know, luckily through a lot of self-growth, a lot of self-reflection, self-investment, you know, I realized, you know, this is you know, I'm a spiritual person. This is where God has chosen me to be. So, yeah.
That's
But now
amazing.
in terms of the motivational game, you know, I'll tell you, like, I got into social media, started going like full tilt about 2 years ago. But as I posted more and more and, you know, started doing a lot of reading, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, I realized I had this passion to help inspire people. So I'd say that journey started about 2 years ago, and I'm just rolling with it. So, and it's nice hooking up with people like you because you inspired me. And yeah, I mean, it's just multiplicative.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
So you grew up with MJ, huh?
Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I'm 42, so the Bulls dynasty was from junior high all the way to early college for me. So yeah, I mean, that was my idol growing up. I just appreciated his championship mentality. Not the nicest guy, you know, and that's something that I disagree with, but you know, at the end of the day, he was a winner and he put in the hard work. You know, he was blessed with talent, but yeah, talent only takes you so far.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. What exactly, man, if seeing your mom in the healthcare space, what exactly intrigued you most about saying that this is also what I want to do as I get older?
Yeah. Um, you know, I like the challenge. I like the fact that it's an honest living because you're contributing, you know, you're helping people. And I think as human beings, we're put on this earth to help each other out. Kind of like what you said with your intro. You know, we're not alone. You know, a lot of people I know maybe don't have connections with their family. They feel alone, but there's a lot of other people out there that can help you out, whether it's friends, coworkers, etc. Um, and I know, and if you really dive deep, when you help another person, that's when I'm at my happiest. And then, you know, I'll tell you, there was a lot of fields also in medicine that I didn't really find interest in. But then I saw my first hip replacement and it was love at first sight. I knew I was home. So, you know, since then, that's what I do. That's what I specialize in, hip replacements, knee replacements. So, you know, that passion, that fire was within me. So I just had to roll with it.
How long did that process take, man? I know you've been in it for quite some years or so
Yeah,
like that. So just tell us about the process, man. We'd love to hear about
sure.
that, just of how you guys started in the medical space.
Yeah.
You know, and
So, yeah. So, you know, went to college, University of Michigan,
okay.
go blue. And then went the pre-medical route. And, you know, what I realized, it's like a sport, right? Like in high school, fortunately, I put in the hard work. I did really well. And then when I got to college, you know, I didn't realize how competitive it was, you know, because it's like, you know, you're a sport. You can be a high school All-American, but then you go to Division I sport and everybody's pretty much a high school All-American. So you got to level up, you know. So I came in maybe a little cocky, a little overconfident, and really didn't up my study skills. And my first exam, I, you know, almost failed, and I wasn't used to that. And that really knocked me down. You know, I'm like, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. I got to pick another career. But then, you know, luckily, quitting hasn't been in my DNA. So I really just doubled down the next exam, put in the hard work, and I nailed it. And that kind of built my confidence. So I knew I had to level up. You know, if I wanted some playing time, I had to level up my hard work. And then, so it's 4 years undergrad, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of orthopedic residency training, and then did another year of specialty training, particularly in hip and knee replacement. So after college, it was 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some time, man.
Yeah, and it was tough because I would see it.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
good.
No, yeah, go ahead.
During that time and moment, man, what was something that was really, really, you know, you felt that was really kind of challenging for you, that you felt that you wouldn't be able to get through?
Yeah. because like I was in my 20s, and I would see a lot of my friends making a living, kind of be in the quote unquote real world, where I was like stuck in medical school, still studying. They were having a social life. My weekends were spent studying. Of course, I'd have weekends every now and then to kind of, to go out and have a good time, but, not to the level as my friends. And like, it was just a long road. I'm like, first year medical school, I'm like, this is only year one of a 10-year journey, so it was a struggle, and then I'd be clocking 12, 14 hours in the library. And I'm like, this is not, this is not entirely fun, but again, I just knew, the hard work that this is setting me up for the rest of my life. So I'm not going to sacrifice this short term for the long term. And then each year that went by, got better and better. Residency was tough because we were working a lot of hours, sometimes 36 hours in a row. But, that's reflecting back, that's kind of made me battle tested and know that I was able to get through that. And, it's kind of toughened me up mentally, emotionally. So I guess I'll start at 11. Yeah.
What exactly about the medicine space keeps you going, man? Like, what is something that really, because it seems like you're truly passionate, man, even from our first conversation off air. Like, what exactly, man, you can maybe share with some people out there, our younger listeners, maybe younger men who are looking to get into the similar space?
Yeah, there's a lot of levels to that. I'll tell you, my patients, they brighten me up, the connection that I have with them. To see their families happy after they have a good result, whether it's non-operative treatment or operative treatment. I also like how our industry, hip and knee replacements, continues to advance. It doesn't stay status quo a lot. There's a lot of research and development that goes into really progressing the field forward. And I love that. There's a lot of engineering aspects that's incorporated into hip and knee replacements now. Technology is a huge part of that. You mentioned robotics. Artificial intelligence will make its way where artificial intelligence can help doctors diagnose diseases. They can help us in the operating room, voice recognition, augmented reality, virtual reality. So kind of like I'm a science fiction buff, and it's almost like science fiction.
Yeah. Man, it's so interesting because we always learning something new or something like that.
Yeah.
So when was it that you said that, man, listen, I'm going to get into the orthopedic space? Like, what event occurred that pushed you to being able to now be one of the most influential people in that space?
Well, I was I guess I was kind of an athlete growing up. I played football, and I had dislocating shoulders, like really bad. So I got introduced to an orthopedic surgeon that way, and I saw that doctor was very happy with their job, and I thought it was also a different language than what I was used to in medicine. I thought medicine up until that point was all about numbers, diabetes, hypertension, but here was a completely different language. It's a lot of hardware, which I like tools. So I thought that was cool. And then going into medical school, I wanted to keep an open mind. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself to anything. A lot of my buddies were already hell-bent orthopedics from day one in medical school. And then during my third year clinicals, when I saw that first hip replacement, I was done. That was it. No more looking around. And it was just one of those things where you just feel it. You feel it in your soul, you feel it in your heart. And I'm like, I love this. So I'm not going to disrespect. I'm not going to let that passion not be pursued. So and luckily, I chose the right field.
Tell us about that moment, as you just said, that third. What you were just sharing just now, just tell us about that moment and what was really going through Dr. David, mind at that time, and just tell us. It just seems interesting to me.
No, I mean, I remember it vividly. We were in OR1 at University of Illinois, Chicago, it was with my attending Dr. Mark Gonzalez, and there was this senior resident, Dr. George Bronovaki, who was very instrumental for my career path. And then I just walked in there. I saw all these shiny tools, these hammers, these saws, the mechanical aspect of it. And I'm like, this is so dope. This is so dope, So it was just put a huge smile on my face, and it still does. And I was like, gosh, I didn't know that surgery incorporated such stuff. We see a lot of surgery like on TV, usually it's just knives and instruments, and that's all well and good. But then when I saw, this toolbox that was there, I'm like, yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
man. I love that. Now, I was reading up on something, man, and you made an interesting quote. You said that purpose is that power that propel you to get out of bed each morning and push you to make dreams come true.
Yeah.
Please share that with us, man. Please share exactly, like, when did that come for you at the time? Like, why did that exactly happen? And
yeah. I'll tell you, much like yourself, it all circles back to self-investment, because I listen to a ton of audiobooks, and there's a consistent theme that's there. It's like finding your purpose, right? I think there's now 7.5 billion people in the world. And I think, we're all unique individuals, and we're all have a unique gift that we can provide to this world. But a lot of times that can get drowned out by the stresses of life, because life is not easy. A lot can be difficult, a lot of anxiety involved, a lot of depression, where it kind of like makes you not pursue your purpose, because pursuing your purpose can be uncomfortable. It's challenging, it's difficult. But, as I get older and older, I realize that, like, hey, I'm only here, maybe you call it midlife crisis, whatever. I'm only here for a limited amount of time, so each second, I just want to grind. I want to hustle. I want to contribute to this world. I say, I want to leave a legacy such that in that I help others leave a legacy, and I think that's just living, man. For a while, to be honest, I was dragging through life. I was really just overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. But I wasn't doing anything about it really, but luckily, you just gotta, you gotta work on yourself. Warren Buffett says that the best investment that you can make is in yourself. It's immune to inflation. And it's so true, because once you do that, the whole world opens up, and the world, becomes more magical and beautiful. And even in the bad moments, you find out what you're made of, and you find out there's a lot of lessons in that. So I want to be able to, I've said this a few times, I want my gravestone to say, here's a man, here's a human being that gave life and gave everyone his all. So that's what drives me. Yeah.
When was the time and point in your life, man, where you hit rock bottom, and how did you overcome?
I'd say, rock bottom was probably was 6 years ago. I was married, but luckily, we have, me and my ex-wife, we have the best relationship ever. So that was a rough spot in my life. And, there was this important examination that we have to take when we're in practice, and I failed it, so that really questioned my made me put my self-esteem really down, kind of just thinking the ball was going to drop, that my career was going to end, but luckily I kind of drew back on that experience in college, where I'm like, I'm just doubling down for the next exam. And whether I fail again or whether I don't, I'm going to go out swinging, So, that's when I really knew I had to make changes. I knew I had to put in the work on myself, kind of dive deep into David, what makes me tick, what transpired in the past that brought me to that point, and, I was able to find out what makes me tick, and knowing that kind of knowing yourself, we're complex human beings, we're complex, our minds are complex, our bodies are complex, but the more you know about it, the more you can address it, the more you can handle it. And that's, I thank God for that. There's a gift of desperation, right? Sometimes you have to go to the rock bottom to really live the best life possible. So.
Indeed. And that's good that you all still remain friends and to this day. What
Yeah.
was those few adjustments you made though? You said you made some changes, man, and there was a click that you made or so as well. So what was those adjustments, if you could share, that you really made that has helped you along this way?
Yeah. No, I got into meditation. I got into a lot more reading, and I think everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs a life coach. I have no problem with that. So I started seeing a therapist regularly, got a life coach, because as you said, we can't take on the life by ourselves. I think that was another thing, that insight I just had, is like, I tried to put everything on my shoulders. I'm like, I got this, I'm doing this on my own, but a lot of that's pride, ego. I just swallow my ego. Because, hey, we need a team, we need support. And I think I got humbled, and I needed that. So, and there's a lot of strength in vulnerability. I put on this facade of Teflon David, that I'm bulletproof, but really behind that was like a weak individual. But now that I'm able to open up my vulnerability, I've gotten stronger, because that's just human, man. That's just human, so.
There is strength and vulnerability. Tell us the importance about that, man, especially for masculine men that may listen out there and feel like it's always important to be macho. Tell us the importance of vulnerability and why you practice that every day in your everyday practice.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of, I always don't like that saying, society says this, society says that, but I think got to use it in this. Like, society says that, we shouldn't cry, that we shouldn't discuss our weaknesses, that we shouldn't show that we're stressed out. But that festers, that kind of builds up. And it all comes back to just authenticity, like, hey, if you get it off your chest, if you talk about it, if you're authentic, that's when you can really open up a connection with another human being. Because if you're vulnerable and if you're doing that, there's a level of trust that's involved there. That kind of opens the window into you. If someone's vulnerable with me, that opens the window into them. And then that's where the human connection can really get optimized. And, I think there's something magical in human connection.
Indeed. Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah. So the space you in now, man, you specialize in hip and joint plate replacement. Yeah. Oh man, that's a serious role, man. Why did you decide to take on this serious role, man?
There's a lot of challenges, but like.
What's the name of your practice, Dr. Dave?
I like challenges. So I'm in a private practice, San Diego Orthopedic Associates Medical Group. It's a long-winded name. It's, 6 other surgeons along with myself. And also we have me and a few other surgeons. We opened up a surgery center, advanced surgery center in North County. But I'm kind of repurpose a little bit. I call my individual practice Fab Hip and Knee. And then, you talked about that Fab movement. That's kind of getting out of the realm of orthopedics, kind of more in the motivational space. But it all ties in, because I like to motivate my patients, and then, it's all just kind of, I guess, cross-pollination, for lack of a better explanation. So, I just know that, I think it's gratifying when you do something challenging and you're able to do it. It makes you kind of more battle tested to be able to handle other challenges in life. So, yeah.
I was looking at a recent, I guess it was an interview you did maybe a few years ago. You helped a lady through her trials that she was going through with her knee replacement. So feel free to share that testimony.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to, she's a nun, and she actually, when she was young, she worked with Mother Teresa. Yeah, and what a story.
Wow.
And she couldn't kneel, she couldn't do her job for the community. And just a lovely soul, lovely human being. And she came to me for help with her knee replacement. And, I had to deliver for her because I wanted to help her so she can continue to help other people. And luckily, she was able to get back to her job within 2 weeks. And like I said, I'm not preaching. I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not saying you got to believe in God. That's just what I do. That was doing God's work in both ways. Yeah. So.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks, man, that's pretty fast, So,
yeah.
I mean,
And
what procedures had to go, if you mind sharing what procedures you guys had to do, or how did y'all get her through? It seemed like it just was a fast process, but to you all, it's still long hours of the work.
Yeah.
So please share that to us, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking to progress. I have an obligation, but not only obligation, I love it. I need to seek what's best for my patients, what's cutting edge that I feel that can work. And, that ties in with robotic surgery, because knee replacements, it's a game of millimeters, a game of degrees, and any millimeter degree that we're off, that can lead to a suboptimal result. So robotics really helps in that regard. It also, the type of implant that you use, because all knee replacement implants aren't equal. Some work better than others. I'm a big car guy, so I'll say, I use the Porsche of knee replacements, even though I'm wearing a Mercedes hat. That's for Formula One. So, and it's the power of the mind too, so I try to instill that in my patients. And if they go in with a positive attitude, that's a great formula for success, and you kind of set them up. Because if you tell a patient, you're going to be down for 3 months, they're going to be down for 3 months. If you tell a patient, I want you to walk into my clinic 2 weeks, no cane or walker, walking normally, oftentimes that happens because it gives them something to shoot for. It gives them something to motivate for. And, I'm not saying I'm the only one where the patients get these results. There's a lot of other surgeons, but, we're always pushing to be better. And that's what I like. We're always pushing to be better. And, I mean, it's a lot of it was like we were kind of a little too conservative with our patients in the beginning. But as we've gone through it, we realize, we can push them a little more. And hey, who wouldn't want a quicker recovery, right?
Who's somebody in this space right now that you truly is inspired by, man, their work, by who they are as a person? It's a 2-part question. And also, when was it a time that you was working with a patient and you gave them some news that they didn't want to hear, and it was a bit of a challenge for you and your team, but you guys still helped them through the process, although it did take some time to help them walk, to run again. Maybe it was a former athlete, a doctor, a lawyer, who knows, right? So if you can share those two, that'd be awesome. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, great questions. Great questions. I'll tell you, I'm so happy that, when I did my 1 year of training in hip and knee replacement, specialize in that, I was able to acquire just fantastic mentors. They were the best and brightest in the field, top of the food chain, so to speak. And I talk to them to this day. There's Dr. Richard Berger, Dr. Craig Della Valle, Dr. Aaron Rosenberg, Dr. Wayne Poprowski. Those are people that, I'll reach out to every now and then because mentors are so important. They have the experience that I don't have. And I respect all of them. Each and one of them has their own gifts. And also acquiring new mentors along the way, not just from people that I trained with. So, people that I respect, all those people that I just named. One is, very, probably the best physically gifted surgeon that I've ever seen. And plus he's got the high beams for the future. He's a visionary. I call him, that's Richard Berger. I call him the Steve Jobs of hip and knee replacements. And then there's Dr. Craig Della Valle, who, works harder than anyone that I know. So, and he, the results are there, and he's an truly academic, he's got like 300 publications already. And he's like, I appreciated that. He was just a grinder. And then there's Dr. Wayne Poprowski, who was an inventor. So, there's different aspects about each and every one that I appreciate. In terms of trying to help a patient get through a difficult situation, I don't care. Any surgeon would tell you, we don't bat 1,000. We're not 100%. We all have our complications, just human nature, just the nature of the beast. And I say, if there's a surgeon that tells you they've never had a complication, I don't respect that, because that's not honest. If you do enough of this, something's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, when a patient, has a complication, that's always tough. That's always tough. And, you can see their disappointment, their worry. Of course, there's something comes back on me. It's like, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? But, at that point, it's like, you can't delve in the past. It's done, right? A lot of it is just beyond the technique. You got to really be there for the patient. Let them know that you're there for them. Let them know that there are solutions to these problems. It may take longer than you want. It's not what we wanted, not what we expected. But as long as you build them up, let them know that, we got this, that gets them through it. And some absorb that right away. Some take a while. But, as long as the compassion is there, that makes for a good result, because it's all about trust, because, if a patient doesn't trust me, then that doesn't, that's not the best way for optimal results to happen. And, I used to always blame myself for everything, that I had control over everything. But, I heard a good quote along the way, it's, you're responsible for your effort. You're not responsible for your outcome. So as long as I know that I'm giving it my all, I can sleep with that. All the rest is out of my hands. So.
Wow. I love that quote, man.
Yeah.
I love that you said that you take accountability for everything. Yeah. Although you know you can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
So you work in a pretty team environment.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you keep your team motivated, man, for each and every surgery that you guys face?
Well, when I started 10 years ago, I came with a mentality. I'm like, I was a bulldog. I was like, I want them to respect me. I want them to be young. A lot of it was ego, So I was kind of like, I was a tyrant in the OR. I wasn't the nicest guy, but always like kind of, be like, it's my way or the highway. But then I realized, and through reading that, like, I can't do this without a team. There's two types of leaders. And there's a game-changing book that I read called The Multipliers. There's multipliers and there's diminishers. Diminishers are the ones where they rule with an iron fist, and it's their way or the highway. And what happens is that people walk on eggshells, staff team walks on eggshells, and they can only work up to sometimes only 50% of their productivity. But if you're a multiplier, meaning everyone's collaborating, everyone respects each other's opinions, we're all helping each other. We've got a nice culture, a nice, fun, relaxed environment. People can work 110% of their capacity. And when we're dealing with human lives, we got to be at 100%. I feel that's non-negotiable. So me as a leader, me as a captain of the ship, I have to be that multiplier, because So, I mean, that's because, you know, people are, you know, people can offer great insight, and they may see things that I'm not seeing. And, you know, if they have an idea, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, 2 heads are better than 1. 10 heads are better than 1. Of course, you got to have the right team because 1 head might not be the best head to trust. But yeah, it's we grow more as a collective than as an individual. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
You know, because so many people, like you say, they want to give instructions and not guide. They're not, you
Yeah.
know, lead by example or not listen
Yeah.
sometimes to the team member. They
No.
feel like
Yeah.
since they have so much experience, or they just feel like, oh, this person just started or they've been
Yeah.
there for less time than they have. You
Yeah.
never know. You know, they may
I
just
mean,
feel.
it was a surgeon model. I mean, I saw that a lot in training. I'm like, okay, I have to be this way. No, I don't. You know, I get people tell me all the time, you don't act like a surgeon. I'm like, what does that mean? You know, like
What?
I gotta be this a-hole. I gotta be like this arrogance, have this whole, you know, but no, I'm just gonna be me. So yeah.
Right. What are some principles you apply to your life that help you become the best leader you can possibly be, not only to your team, but also as a family man and,
Yeah.
and everything else that you're involved in?
Gratitude, man. Gratitude. You know, that's what it all starts with, like that could be your last interaction with someone. And if you bring a bad attitude and that's a bad interaction, you never know what's going to happen, and that's something I don't want to regret. I don't want to have regrets in life, so yeah, I mean, I think that's an attitude that I have, like I want to make at least one person smile a day, and that's, to me, that's a successful day if I do that. Yeah, that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me pushing. So,
Dr. Dave, if you can write a
and
letter to somebody, anybody right now, in the world, man, who would that be?
write a
And what would
letter.
you say? Yeah. What exactly what would you say in that letter?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow, that's a good one. Let me think about that for a few minutes.
Take your time.
Going back to that question that you asked before, I believe in human potential. I like to test that. I like to go beyond the limits of that. Or let me rephrase, I think human potential is infinite. So I like to see what is possible, challenge what's called, quote unquote, the impossible. I want to help others bring out that potential in themselves. So that's what I like. I mean, how far can I push? David Goggins, a big inspirer. That's a guy that pushes. And there's this Navy SEAL rule that when you feel like you're about to quit, you got another 60% left in you. When you feel like about your quit, you're at 40%. And yeah, I mean, that's when when I feel that, I'm like, there's always a little more in there. So yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. If I was going to write a letter to someone, I'd say Lewis Hamilton. If those don't know him, he's a 6-time world champion, Formula One racer. I'm a big car racer, and he's beyond just a racer. He's really conscious and really big into environment. He's vegan, so into animals, and of course, with the social discord that's going on, he's using his platform to educate. So he's using that platform rather than just, Grant, don't get me wrong, being an athlete is great, but he's beyond his sport. So I'd write a letter to him, see like what drives him. And I kind of know, I've studied his life a lot, but that's someone that I would like to connect with. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
All right, brother, I gotta run. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I got clinic patients.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Just
sorry.
5 more
Yeah.
minutes. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm
we're good.
show some
Whatever
gratitude
you need.
real fast.
Yeah.
To say thank you, man, for taking the time out to be on the show, man.
No
Honestly,
doubt.
sharing some very detailed information, sharing your story, and what led you into the medical space, man.
Yeah.
Big ups to your mom as well, who you've seen her work hard, and you've seen her, provide for you all and take passion into her space, and what led you years later to being who you are today.
Yeah.
So, honestly, man, I think people just have to give people their roses and their flowers while they're here.
I
So
like
I
that.
enjoyed
I
this
like that.
time, man. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we got to connect, man. I'm grateful for our friendship, and hope this serves your listeners and audience as well in a positive way. And last question, man. When it's all said and done, what do you mostly remember for?
Touching lives. Yeah, that's my purpose, is to touch as many lives as possible. That's what gets me going. And I can see that hits your heart too, because I can see you smiling there when I say that, and you're touching lives too. I can just, it's, even though we're on a Zoom meeting, man, I can see that you got heart. You got a good heart. And, that seeing that in other people is, I love it. I eat it up. I love it. So, yeah, that's what I want to remember more. Life is bigger than me. This is not about me. It's about everyone together. I think we see the best in humanity when people come together, and that's what I like seeing, Yeah.
Well said. Leave them off with your social media and we'll get out of here, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, thanks again for everything. I apologize about being late to this. I want to remain, we will remain friends. Anything I can help you with. And of course, I'm sure I'll come to you with any pointers or any tips. If you're ever in California, hit me up. If I'm ever in Tampa, I'll hit you up, so, yeah, bro, this is, there's no coincidences. This is serendipity, It's always nice kind of hooking up with, like minds. Yeah.
So true. So true. People, there you have it. Guys, that's the man, Mr. Dr. David, based in San Diego, 4-time plus Doctor of the Year in San Diego and surrounding areas. Man, this gentleman is so humble about the work that he do, but he's also a servant first. Talks a lot about spirituality too, which we'll get into another interview later on. I love that as well. We're God-fearing men. So those who listening right now, and I hope you really enjoyed this, please follow and support Dr. David's mission. Continue to keep rooting for him. And also, if you haven't already subscribed to the Inspire Before We Expire show on iTunes, also leave us a review to help us expand the reach on many, many more people that may be incarcerated, those who may not have families, may not have a support system. You all matter. You all matter. If you may be going through this COVID-19 thing right now, but let's make the most out of this pandemic and not panic, but pray and also see the purpose and also see the possibility out of it all. So guys, there you have it. Follow my man, Dr. David. Go ahead and, if you're in San Diego and you need some hip knee replacements or anything of that nature, or even just want to say hello and say, man, I heard you on the Inspire Before We Expire. I wanted to come in here and say hello to you. Do that too as well. I'm going to get my man last words before he leave. If you just a few words, that's cool. We're going to close it out.
Again, I just want to say thanks again. I appreciate you for your time. I appreciate who you are as an individual, as a human being. I appreciate everyone that's listening. Thank you for your time. And, let's continue to have a beautiful day. So thank you for what you do, man. Thank you for what you do. So.
Indeed, my man.
All right.
I'm
All
Terrell
right.
Sumter. That's Dr. David Fabi. Logging off, signing out. This is an Inspire Before We Expire, and we're out.